Hello everyone, my dear followers. Today I want to welcome you to a new chapter of What If Naruto had the Rinnegan and fell in love with TAYUYA. Remember, if you want more chapters, just smash that like and subscribe button. Enjoy.
Chapter 21. A date. Ruto, I'm bored. TAYUYA whined as she sat on a branch, watching Naruto who stood sideways on a tree while forming a Rasengan. Naruto blinked as he stopped forming a Rasengan. It has been a week since Jiraiya told him to complete the Rasengan. Even after a week, I am barely able to form a water Rasengan. Well, nothing you can do about it. If it's that easy, Dad would have done that since long ago, Ninjendo commented. Naruto frowned a little but nodded. Indeed, leaving my personal feeling aside, I will acknowledge that he was an impressive shinobi. I wish that we can fight him one day, Ninjendo laughed. Won't that be exciting, my other? Naruto said nothing. He could not deny that he was also interested in Namake's Minato's strength. Praised as the strongest shinobi, the first SSS-ranked shinobi in the elemental country, feared by all other villages. How did that Tobi defeat him? From what he saw, Tobi was not as strong as he expected. Perhaps he was being unfair. The only time he saw Tobi fighting was against Tendo, and the fact that Tobi survived spoke volumes of his skill. Which reminds him, Tendo only used 3 techniques and his reserves already ran out. It seemed that he need more training to use Tendo's abilities. They are very chakra consuming, but those techniques were cool. I wish I have that ability. Then again, stealing souls is also cool. Everything is cool for you, huh? Naruto asked, amused by the path. Ninjendo's light-hearted comments were a welcome change compared to Shirato. Then again, most of the time Shirato was more helpful. Ruto. I'm bored. TAYUYA shouted, reminding Naruto of her presence. That was a problem he had been having for past few days. When he conversed with one of his path, he would ignore everything around him. Sometimes, he would crash to a wall or a tree while walking, causing TAYUYA to laugh at him. What do you want to do? Naruto asked with a sigh as he stopped walking on the tree and stood normally on the ground. TAYUYA thought for a while, let's go to the village, I want a dango. TAYUYA jumped from the branch and sat on Naruto's shoulders. Naruto grabbed her legs and balanced himself. Do you want a dango or do you want to see Mitarashi-san? Naruto asked rhetorically. After meeting the woman for the first time in the hot spring, TAYUYA was very impressed by Yuhi and Mitarashi. After talking with them several times for the past month, they became quite close. Naruto supposed that he could call Mitarashi, TAYUYA's second friend. TAYUYA laughed as Naruto began to move towards the village while making sure that she does not fall. Naruto ignored the stares around him. With all training he had to do, he rarely went to the village. Even then, every time he was here, he would travel on the roof and avoided anyone. This time, he decided to continue his training while visiting the village. He walked on the walls of buildings, jumping from a wall to another while forming a water Rasengan. TAYUYA grinned as she saw several kids pointing towards them, telling to their friends how cool Naruto was and how they wanted to be like him. Her mind imagined a world full of Naruto and her grin widened. What is it? Naruto asked as he formed another Rasengan with his left hand. Nothing, TAYUYA said. Then her grin turned impish as she closed Naruto's eyes with her hands. Naruto arched his right eyebrow but otherwise, he gave no reaction. He stopped for a moment and then continued on his path, this time, slower as to avoid any accident. TAYUYA, think of this as a training. Guide me, Naruto told her. TAYUYA nodded, although he could not see it. Go up a little more. A stall is on our way. Naruto complied and moved closer to the edge of the building. You have to jump to another building, TAYUYA informed. Distance? Naruto asked. About a meter, TAYUYA told him. Naruto jumped. When he was about to land, TAYUYA shouted. That's a window. Watch out. Naruto adjusted the chakra on his feet and landed without breaking the window. That was close. He muttered. Sorry, I should have said something sooner, TAYUYA apologized. Do not worry about it. We should strive to avoid such mistake, Naruto stated. Thanks, TAYUYA smiled then continued to guide Naruto towards the Dango restaurant. Yo, brats. Anko called out as Naruto landed in front of the restaurant, TAYUYA still on his shoulder. On a date? She teased. Beside her, Kurenai smiled at the sight of the honored son of the Namikaze Minato carrying a girl on his shoulder, acting as if everything was right in the world. TAYUYA smirked, jealous. She shot back. Nah, wouldn't be able to break through the ice prince here. Anko waved towards Naruto. Most jonin called him boy version of Kurenai. Boy version of me? Anko, what kind of image do I have? Kurenai asked. Anko grinned. Few months ago, after you sent that guy who asked you for a date to the hospital, you are officially the Ice Queen of Konoha. And how is that relevant to me? Naruto asked, tilting his head. Anko thought for a moment. Let's say that while walking, you saw a guy you know from your graduating class. What will you do? She asked. I will do nothing. Unless there is a reason to engage a conversation, I will not, Naruto answered without hesitation. Anko laughed. She could imagine him doing that. Then Kurenai asked, what if you saw TAYUYA while walking? I will do nothing. Sooner or later, she will approach me, Naruto answered. Anko and Kurenai raised an eyebrow at that. It did sound like something she would do. Even if it is merely to annoy me. He added. TAYUYA smacked his head, an easy feat seeing as she was still on his shoulder. I will not, she denied. Naruto moved his head to look at her. He stared at her blankly. TAYUYA blushed. Okay, maybe I will. Naruto nodded, satisfied with her confession. Anko looked at the two, amazed. Nai-chan, are you like that too with Asuma? She asked. Hearing that, Kurenai blushed and smacked Anko's head. Anko rubbed her head, while grinning. I don't hear a denial. She said in a sing-song voice. Kurenai looked away, face red. Anko, she shouted. Anko laughed, then she noticed something behind Naruto and TAYUYA. Kid, isn't that Uchiha your teammate? She asked. Naruto turned towards the direction she was watching and saw Sasuke with Haku walking down the street. What are they doing? Naruto wondered. TAYUYA smirked, clearly the pervert and Haku are dating. Let's go, Naruto. We'll spy on them. Naruto blinked but otherwise followed her command. He could use this as a stealth training. The plan was to follow Sasuke and Haku and spied on their date. At least, that was what Naruto believed. Instead, when TAYUYA saw Haku holding a cat-shaped stuffed animal that Sasuke bought for Haku, she immediately abandoned any pretense of stealth and immediately greeted them, which resulted in the situation Naruto and Sasuke were currently facing. Both of their hands were filled with many kinds of paper bags, each with different brands on them. The girls were currently attacking another shop. How did this happen, Sasuke? Naruto asked. My mother told me I have to be a man and ask her to a date. She accepted and then you and the Red Devil appeared and here we are. Sasuke stated in a monotone. Naruto suspected that he was moving in an autopilot. TAYUYA suspected that the both of you are on a date. She decided that she wanted to spy on you both. However, when she saw the gift you gave to Haku, she suddenly joined her. Naruto explained his side of the story. What actually happened was that when TAYUYA joined Haku to adore the stuffed animal, Haku suggested for her and Naruto to join her and Sasuke and make it a double date. TAYUYA agreed and they immediately moved to their first target, the shopping center. Fortunately for the boys, their families are wealthy. Unfortunately for the boys, their families are wealthy. While they could afford all the items the girls were buying, they definitely would have a hard time explaining to their mothers of the reason of sudden decrease in their family's economy. With this said, Naruto and Sasuke swore not to allow the girls to meet with no supervision. And if they really have to, forcibly separate them from each other. Naruto. Sasuke called. Yes, I can't feel my hands. I expected that. After shopping, TAYUYA and Haku took Naruto and Sasuke around the Konoha. They went to the cinema, watching Princess Gale movie, then they went to eat, at the Yakiniku queue. By the end of the day, the girls seemed to be closer and happier. On a side note, Naruto and Sasuke's bond of camaraderie grew from the suffering they have went through. When Naruto and TAYUYA returned back to the Uzumaki house, they were greeted by his mother. Naruto noted the big smile on her face when she greeted them. He wondered about the reason. He received the answer. It was not what he was expecting. Welcome home you two. I heard that you both went on a date. When can I expect some grandchildren? Hearing the question, Naruto's brain shut down. The next day, Naruto opened his eyes on the roof. He blinked and the memory of last night came back full force. After rebooting, he and TAYUYA explained to his mother that she misunderstood and that they were not like that. A date, eh? Naruto asked himself. He knew nothing about that. TAYUYA seemed to enjoy yesterday's outing and yet, it seemed that something was missing. I need more information, Naruto concluded. He created several clones and ordered them to protect TAYUYA and the house. Then he left to start his quest for information. Source number 1, Uchiha Sasuke. Something is missing. Sasuke asked Naruto as he stopped his training to speak with his friend. I don't know anything about that. Haku and I seems to be fine after the date. Dad, do you know something? Sasuke asked Fugaku. Fugaku closed his eyes. What did you do after you separate from Sasuke? Naruto answered, we returned home and then we met with my mother. After that, my memories were blur. He decided not to mention the reason of his blurred memories. Fugaku smirked, I see, then it seems that you are more sensitive to your girlfriend's feelings than Sasuke. You both made the same mistake. No, you forgot something important. What? Sasuke asked, surprised. Fugaku chuckled, I will not tell you what you have forgotten. You both have to find out on your own. Sasuke cursed. If something was wrong in his date with Haku, Naruto. Let's go. Sasuke dashed out of the field, his training forgotten. Naruto nodded, following his friend. Fugaku grinned, they both really are similar to Minato and I. He could still remember how Minato and he had to ran around, trying to find the girls and apologize for a bad first date. Source number 2, Hatake Kakashi. When Naruto and Sasuke arrived at the hero's monument, they found Kakashi in front of it, reading his book out loud. And then Nade screamed, no, Rhea. We mustn't. However, our handsome, dashing hero was unperturbed. With skills that could only be matched by the god of perverts himself, he skillfully placed his fingers in. Naruto and Sasuke escaped from the place before they could hear anymore. Source number 3, Jiraiya the Gallant. Never mind, Naruto stated as he and Sasuke walked away from the posing Jiraiya. After they left, Jiraiya stood, still in his kabuki pose. Winds blew by and Jiraiya finally allowed himself to sweat from his eyes. He did not cry. Real men did not cry. They simply released sweat from their eyes. Source number 4, Uchiha Itachi. Something you forgot to do? Itachi asked after he listened to the boys. Help us, oh great brother of mine. Sasuke pleaded. Itachi-sama, do you have an answer to our peril? Naruto asked. Sasuke, Naruto, I wish I can help you, but... Itachi trailed off. Do you have duties to attend to, Itachi-sama? Naruto asked. No, it's just that father said the same thing to me long ago. I still don't know the answer. Naruto, Sasuke and Itachi looked at each other and groaned. Source number 5, Mitarashi Enko and her sidekick, Yuhi Kurenai, have arrived. Enko declared as she slammed open the door to the Hokage office. Enko. Don't be rude to Hokage-sama. And I'm not your sidekick. Kurenai smacked Enko's head and bowed to Itachi. Enko-san, Kurenai-san. I summoned both of you here for an important S-rank mission. You will be given S-rank payment directly from myself as I am the client of this mission. S-rank mission pay. Enko shouted in surprise, then she saluted. What is thy bidding, Hokage-sama? What is the mission, Hokage-sama? Kurenai was more cautious, though the prospect of S-ranked pay was too good to be true, most S-ranked mission were beyond dangerous. They should tread lightly. The mission is simple. All you have to do is answer our question, Itachi stated. Our. Enko blinked. Then Naruto and Sasuke appeared and they all bowed their heads to the two women. Please tell us what we did wrong. Kurenai and Enko blinked, looked at each other, then blinked again. What? TAYUYA woke up and yawned. She looked around to search for Naruto. When she saw no one, she almost panicked. Then Naruto appeared, though TAYUYA noted that it has less expression than usual. A clone. The clone gave her a piece of paper and she read it. I have something to do. Stay in the house for a while, I will be back soon. TAYUYA nodded and waited at the edge of the roof, trying to catch a glimpse of Naruto. Yuya! Naruto shouted from the ground. What is it? TAYUYA shouted back from the roof. Let us go to a date again. Naruto shouted. TAYUYA blinked. Did she somehow travel into an alternate universe? Did Naruto just ask her to a date? What? She asked in a low voice. Naruto dashed on the wall and arrived next to her. Let us go to a date again. This time, I will do it properly, Naruto told her with a determined face. TAYUYA blinked and nodded, still in shock. Naruto smiled and they left the house. First they went to the shopping center. While yesterday Naruto only took the luggage and did nothing, this time he complimented her and advised her on what clothes would suit her better. TAYUYA had to admit, it was more fun than shopping with Haku. By the end of their trip, TAYUYA returned without her hat and a new ponytail. Then they went around the village and talked with each other more. Naruto stopped on the Yamanaka's flower shop and bought her a bouquet of roses. TAYUYA blinked, not expecting a gift like that. Though she accepted it. Finally they went to Amiguriyama, Mitarashi Anko's recommendation. They ate there and Naruto had to admit, Anko was correct. TAYUYA loved the sweets in Amiguriyama. Later, TAYUYA left the place with a big smile and a big bag full of sweets. TAYUYA ate them on their way back home and Naruto almost commented on it, but he remembered Kurenai's advice. Don't be too blunt. Girls are delicate. Yuya, perhaps you should save the sweets for later date. The anticipation of eating it should make the taste even better, Naruto told her. TAYUYA seemed reluctant, but a promise from Naruto to take her back to Amiguriyama sometime mollified her and she put away the bag. When they arrived at the Uzumaki house, Naruto looked around. What is it, Ruto? TAYUYA asked. Anko and Kurenai told me that I should do this after I take you home, but our home is the same, so. Naruto grabbed her hands and looked at her in the eyes. TAYUYA realized what he was about to do, but she could not imagine Naruto of all people doing it. Are you going to? Do you not want me to? He asked. Dreading a refusal. If it's you, it's fine. Naruto smiled and kissed her. It was a soft kiss, short but sweet. Naruto pulled back and they looked away, embarrassed. Grandchildren! Kushina shouted as she revealed herself. It seemed that she was hiding behind the door. Behind her were the Jinchuriki, Jiraiya and Tsunade. The two Sannin smiled proudly at their respective apprentice. Naruto and TAYUYA grew red and they ran to the roof, avoiding the spectators, and soon they laid on their usual spot, watching the sky. Does this change anything? Naruto asked TAYUYA. Do you want it to? She asked back. I think our relationship is fine as it is now. We are best friends and yet more. Naruto stated. Then he continued, let us go to another date sometime. TAYUYA's face appeared above him. The smile on her face was brighter than anything else he had seen and Naruto's heart skipped a beat. I wish days like this could continue forever. TAYUYA told him, face still above his. It will. I swear it will. If anyone tries to take these days away, I will stop them. Even if it is a god. Naruto declared. Promise? She asked. I promise. Naruto smiled. They kissed again and then they allowed themselves to rest. Why are you here? Jikudo asked. As Naruto and Jigikudo floated on an empty space. Because I have found it. Naruto answered. What is it that you have found? The Hell Realm asked. My peace. Naruto muttered with a smile. And what is it? A smile. Her smile is everything to me. A world where people precious to me can smile happily. That is peace. Naruto answered. He closed his eyes and the image of TAYUYA's smiling face flashed in his mind. Is that the meaning of peace? Jigikudo asked. That is what Uzumaki Naruto knows as peace, Naruto answered truthfully. You speak with complete honesty. You stayed true to yourself, and for that, you should be proud. For you, Uzumaki Naruto is my master. I, Jigikudo, the realm of hell, the sixth of samsara, acknowledge you as my master. Let us strive towards our peace, together. Warning. Preview for the sequel, skip if you do not wish to read it. This is actually a rough draft of what I am planning to write after finishing this story. Chapter 1: A New World. A huge chunk of rock flew through the air and slammed to the ground, causing loud explosion around the area of the impact. Opening his samsara eyes as he laid on the ground, Naruto looked at the forest around him. Where am I? He wondered. The last thing he remembered was facing the invader from beyond. I believe it would be the best for us to lay low. We were lucky to survive our encounter with Yomen though. However, I doubt we could survive another battle. We should rest. Tendo advised. That thing let us go, did it not? Naruto asked tiredly. Tendo said nothing and the silence told Naruto everything. I will kill it. I killed a god once. I will do it again. Naruto muttered, his eyes narrowed as the grounds around him began to float. You are allowing your emotions to rule you, my master, Tendo stated. Calm down. He speaks the truth, losing control of our emotion would prove to be dangerous, Shirato agreed. There will be time for reckoning. However, now is not the time, Jigakudo spoke, supporting the two paths. For now, let's just rest. We're also tired. Ninjendo told Naruto. Enemy. Destroy. Chikashodo shouted. Kill. Gakido screamed. We will meet with the foul creature again, someday. We should conserve our energy for now. Geto advised. Naruto scowled but allowed himself to listen to the path and released his chakra. After we wake up, we will scout the area. As you wish. Naruto woke up as he felt his body being shook. When he did so, he was expecting a shinobi member to greet him. After all, he went to face the invader with a team. Though, they went missing in the battle. Yuya, what he did not expect was seeing a face nearly identical to him when he was 10 years old. And he definitely did not expect to see that the one with face identical to him was a girl. Naruto did what he would do in a situation as absurd as this. He blinked and tilted his head. Ha! Chapter 22 Prelude to Battle. Ruto, I'm bored. Naruto blinked, those words seemed familiar. Then he remembered it was the same sentence she stated 3 years ago. So many things have happened since then. Naruto thought. Physically, he and TAYUYA had grown older since then. He noticed that when he kept his bangs long, people would compare him with Minato and so he kept his bangs short. In addition to that, for some reason, part of his hair stuck out like a pair of ears on his head. When he saw them, Tendo seemed amused. TAYUYA kept her hair in ponytail. After their first date, TAYUYA always kept her hair like that. Not that Naruto minded, in his opinion, she looked better without her hat. While physically he and TAYUYA had not changed much, their abilities had grown leaps and bounds. Naruto had several new techniques in his arsenal. He also increased his physical abilities to help his elemental manipulation style. His elemental manipulation had not changed much, however after discussing it with Jigakudo, he found out that one of the abilities Rinnegan granted was an affinity towards all elements. That did not mean he had an absolute control over elements though. It only meant that he had easier time learning the elements he was difficult with such as fire and lightning releases. After some months of training, he managed to create a futon, Rasengan, futon katan, Rasengan and Suten Raiden, Rasengan perfectly. It was a good achievement for him seeing as Rasengan was a quite strong jutsu and the elemental variations were far stronger than normal. In addition to that, he had created several A and 2S rank elemental manipulation technique. Mainly wind and water, though he had several other elemental techniques. He also had learned how to fully incorporate the paths into his fighting style. However, in battles he mainly used Shirato and Gakido. Chikashodo might be needed but the time he used summoning were few even throughout the 3 years training. Ninjendo and Jigakudo's abilities were certainly not suitable in a battle. Ninjendo and Jigakudo claimed that their true abilities would be unlocked only after he possessed Rinnegan. Speaking about abilities, Jigakudo's was quite surprising for him. He did not expect an ability to summon a giant being called King of Hell, which had the powers to interrogate someone and to fully restore anything that was placed inside its mouth. Though he saw no reason for the restoration ability after Jigakudo told him that the King of Hell's restoration only worked for a corpse seeing as a human would die if they were eaten by the summon. His genjutsu and other areas of skills did grew, but it was nothing notable, as his primary focus was to train his close-quarter combat and technique strong enough to break through any defenses. For others, he left it to his best friend, Yuya. TAYUYA had finished her training with Tsunade and later learned several styles of fighting focused on legs. This was done so that she was able to battle and play her flutes at the same time. She also, at Naruto's insistence, began learning several techniques to improve her ninjutsu. As medic nin, she already had near-perfect chakra control since before her training with Tsunade. Now, she was a medic nin only surpassed by Shizune and Tsunade, the two best medic of Konoha. Tsunade told him once that TAYUYA's style was unorthodox. She was a medic nin and yet she joined the front line. Technically, she did not break the laws of medic nin as she was supporting Naruto, but it was quite dangerous. Naruto answered Tsunade's words with a single question. Then I just have to protect her, yes. In several mock battles, they would attack together in a close-range combat. TAYUYA would also play her flute, causing several dokas to appear and join their attacks. In case the enemy retreats, Naruto would be the one who pursued the hostile and drag him back to TAYUYA's range. While his and TAYUYA's growth were good, the same could not be said with the condition of his family. Yagura now lived with him, TAYUYA and the other Jinchuriki. According to the ex-Mizukage, after he was escorted to Konohagakure, he was sent to live with Yamanaka to make sure no trace of Tobi's mind control were left. After 2 months of inspection, he was finally allowed to leave. With the addition of Yagura, the already unstable situation of Uzumaki House became even more tense. Since the Jinchuriki lived with them, Naruto rarely came home and spent his time training instead. Part of it because he wanted to be strong enough to face Akatsuki, and the other part because he was still uncomfortable with the strangers in his home. While his relationship with Gaara and Yagura could be considered friendly, the Mizukage considered himself to be in his debt for saving him from Tobi. His relationship with Utakata and Fu were not so simple. Utakata is too similar to me. While we respect one another, we will not seek each other's company. The problem is Fu. The Jinchuriki girl was troublesome. She seemed to consider him and TAYUYA as threats towards other Jinchuriki, which includes his mother. She would remind the others indirectly, or sometimes directly, that he and TAYUYA were different. As much as it annoyed Naruto, he could not dislike the girl. Her attitude were quite similar to his overprotective tendencies towards his mother. Though his attitude lessened as he grew, that does not mean he would allow her to be harmed, though. May Rikudo have mercy on those who harmed Kushina, because he would not. In addition to his family's problem, he also had a problem with the next trial. After he passed Jigakudo's test, he went to the Heaven Realm. Tendo, I have passed Jigakudo's trial. Will you answer my question now? Naruto asked the first path. You have yet to pass my trial, my master, Tendo reminded. Will you allow me to take the trial now? Naruto asked. Do not act rashly, my master. You are not strong enough. When the time is right, I will administer the trial. However, you do deserve a gift for passing 5 of 6 paths trial. Tendo seemed to think for a moment. Then his Rinnegan eyes glowed with amusement. Indeed, that would solve several problems. Tendo. Naruto called as he saw Tendo absorbed in his thought. Tendo smirked. My master, congratulations. You may now challenge the outer realm. Tendo waved his hand and instantly a door with Rinnegan mark on it appeared on the edge of Heaven Realm's cliff. Enter that door when you are ready. Though, I advise you to become stronger before trying to face Geto. After all, he is the only path that is outside my jurisdiction. I wish you luck, my master. After stating that, Tendo disappeared and Naruto was left alone in the first realm. The outer realm was a complete unknown to all the paths. Well, all except Tendo. With that said, the paths were separated into 2 groups. The group that wanted Naruto to wait before challenging the outer realm, Shirato and Jigakudo. There is no reason to be in hurry. We should make sure that our preparation is perfect before we challenge this trial, was Shirato's comment. My lord, as Lord Tendo hath stated, the outer realm is outside his jurisdiction and therefore, possess an unknown risk. Up until now, all of your trials were held under our supervision to avoid any critical damages to our combined soul. However, in Geto's realm, there is no such insurance. Jigakudo warned him. The group that wanted Naruto to challenge the outer realm immediately, Nintendo and Chikashodo. Nintendo told him with his usual attitude, "Come on, you already passed many trials. This one should be a piece of cake. Think of what you can do with all that power Geto has." He defeated 2 Bijus, remember? Geto, strong. Strong friends, need, that was what Chikashodo said. He supposed that meant that Geto was strong and they need strong friends. Kakido was out for the obvious reason. He was insane. Jaya ha 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 ha. Yes, that was obvious. This was a clear decision. The outer realm would certainly govern by different set of laws compared to the desire realms. He would need some preparation before challenging it. Which resulted in this 3 years delay. And even now he was doubting his chance of passing the outer path's trial. It would be the best if he postponed his trial for now. Naruto! Tayuya shouted. Naruto blinked again. Yes, Yuya, he asked as he was snapped out of his musing. I said, I'm bored, she whined like a child. Naruto chuckled, then, what do you want to do, he asked. The same question he gave long ago. I heard that all Jonins were summoned by the Hokage yesterday. Why don't we look for Kurenai? I want to know why the Hokage called them, Tayuya suggested. Naruto thought about it. The meeting might be held to discuss something that only Jonins are privy to. We are Chunins, Yuya. We should not pry, that was also a problem. Because of their focus on training, even after 3 years, Tayuya and he were still Chunins. That did not mean that their skills were Chunin level though. According to Jiraiya, they should be able to match 1 or 2 Akatsuki members when they were working together. But I'm bored. She whined again. Naruto shook his head with a smile. Very well, we shall do as you wish. However, if Yuhi-san does not wish to answer your question, you must not complain. Tayuya smiled, let's go. When they reached the Dango restaurant, they saw Enko and Kurenai discussing something with serious expression. Tayuya was about to call them but Naruto placed a hand over her mouth to silence her. Tayuya looked towards him questioningly. Anything that is able to make Mitarashi-san look that serious must be important. They will not answer if we ask them. Let us go to Itachi-sama, Naruto suggested. Tayuya grinned, I thought we shouldn't pry. Naruto closed his eyes, it seems that my curiosity defeated my rationality. You're right, though. I wonder what can make Enko looks that serious. Naruto nodded and then they left to see the Hokage. The pair entered the Hokage's tower and went to the administration desk. Excuse us, we would like to speak with Hokage-sama, please, Naruto told Irika who was currently holding the duty of Hokage's assistant. Hokage-sama is expecting you and your companion, Uzumaki-san. Please go in, Irika told them. Naruto and Tayuya looked at each other, confused. Their curiosity grew as they heard several voices in the Hokage's office. They entered the room and saw Itachi with 8 different people. Yo! Nice to meet you fools. I am Jinchuriki-sama, Killer Bee, a strange man wearing sunglasses declared when he saw them entering the room. Naruto's eyes narrowed, a name placed itself upon the man instantly. Gyuki, B. Shut up. You are surprising them, a man, which according to his head was the Reikage shouted. Is this the kid you told us about? A short man Naruto recognized as the Tsuchikage, Anoki asked Itachi. Naruto's eyes narrowed at the lack of respect shown to Itachi. You, boy. Are you Namikaze Naruto? A tall man wearing a red armor asked, his gruff voice boomed through the room. Kokuo. Naruto scanned the room, the Yanbi's vessel was a man with red hair and face armor. Matatabi, Son Goku, all the Biju have gathered in Konoha. Then he noted that all the Kages were here. Mei-san is the Mizukage. The Kazekage is Gaara's sister. Is she not too young? Naruto wondered about the choice of the Kage but he supposed that Suna must have their reason. He looked at the Gobi's vessel, my name is Uzumaki Naruto. Then, Naruto turned towards Itachi, Itachi-sama, may I ask why have you called me here and why are the Jinchurikis and Kages here? Itachi nodded, accepting the question, as you know that the Akatsuki will begin to move soon. Naruto and TAYUYA nodded. Before that happens, we are considering to move all the Jinchurikis into a safe location. In addition, they will be given several guards with them. You both are among the candidates. Naruto thought for a moment. Hokage-sama, permission to speak freely? Granted. The Jinchurikis should not be placed in one location. Also, they should not be hidden, Naruto stated. Itachi raised an eyebrow. Several of the Jinchuriki's eyes took a steely edge. Naruto knew the reason of their hostility. They thought that he was planning to use them as a bait. Think about it from the Akatsuki's perspective, Hokage-sama. Right now, they are moving in pairs to each Jinchuriki. If the Jinchurikis are placed in a same spot, the whole organization will attack at the same time. Do you believe we can win against 10S ranked shinobi? Naruto explained his reasoning. Itachi nodded. Naruto's words were true. It would be nearly impossible for them to battle against 10S ranked shinobi at the same time. Especially since most of them were unknowns. Kid, you are still young, you should leave this to those older than you, that Tsuchikage told him. I'm sure that the best of our villages are enough to match those 10 upstarts. Naruto narrowed his eyes. Age does not equate wisdom. Allow both the young ones and their elders to speak and you shall be enlightened. Merely allowing one of them to speak will result in a lack of insight. Clearly you have grown too arrogant to believe that age means everything. The Tsuchikage's eyes twitched at Naruto's clear disrespect. The Raikage nodded at the words. He could see what the boy meant. Then what do you suggest? The Kazekage, Temari if he remembered correctly, asked. Hide the Jinchurikis in several places. But keep the places hidden. Pretend as if they are still in Konoha. After that, each village should give a location to their trusted shinobi. Each villages will give different false locations. If the Akatsuki lack a good spy network, they will be fooled and attack Konoha. If the Akatsuki does not take the bait and attack one of the fake, that means there is a leak in the village that gives that location. If the Akatsuki found the real locations of the Jinchuriki, if they know the real locations then what? Yujito asked. Either they have a very good spy network or there are traitors deep inside the villages, Naruto ended. The office was filled with silence. Thank you Naruto-kun, you may go now. Itachi dismissed both Naruto and TAYUYA. I will inform you our decision later. Naruto and TAYUYA bowed and moved to leave the room. Before they could exit the office, they were stopped by Killer Bee. You know, bro. You are cool, Hachi said so. He moved a fist towards Naruto. Naruto raised an eyebrow at the fist and at the name. Hachi. Is he in a good terms with his Biju? That's good, bump yo's fist with mine. Then we be cool, Bee told Naruto. Naruto blinked at the weird language but bumped his fist with Killer Bee. The man might be weird but he certainly was not hostile. He saw no reason not to be polite. Cool, the name's Killer Bee, by you know that already. The eccentric man introduced himself again with a grin, pointing his thumbs towards himself. That's Yujito but you know that already. Those two are Go and Yon's Jinchurikis. Han and Rashi, Uzumaki Naruto. It is a pleasure, Killer Bee-san, Yujito-san, Han-san, Rashi-san. Naruto bowed at each of them. After that, he and TAYUYA left the room. After they left the room, there was a silence and then Rashi, Yanbi's vessel broke the silence. You know, even back in the old days, it is rare to see a kid that polite. When they were walking home, Naruto's eyes suddenly narrowed. He wordlessly created a clone that instantly moved towards the Hokage's tower. TAYUYA, prepare for battle, he told his partner. Why? TAYUYA asked, then she saw Naruto's cold eyes, the eyes he only had when he was in a mission. Is it time? TAYUYA asked, worry filling her mind. Naruto nodded and opened his mouth to answer. Back at the Uzumaki house, or where Uzumaki house should be, for men with black cloak and red clouds on them stood facing the 5 Jinchurikis. Kushina and the Jinchurikis all watched the hostile shinobi warily. Orochimaru chuckled, it seems that we meet again, Kushina. Where's the kid? I can't wait to see how much he has grown, Kisame grinned, showing his sharp teeth. Sasori no Dana, shall we start our show? A man with blonde ponytail covering one of his eyes spoke to the hunkering man beside him. Do not play around too much, Deidara. The man spoke in a rough voice. The Akatsuki is here. Chapter 23 The First Attack, The Red Scorpion. Uzumaki Naruto was a calm shinobi. He was not the type to lose his cool easily in many different situations. However, knowing that his mother would fight S-rank shinobi was not one of them, which was why he ran faster than he had ever been in his life towards his home, dragging TAYUYA all the while. Wait, Ruto. You're too fast. TAYUYA shouted as she tried to match his movements. Naruto wordlessly grabbed TAYUYA and carried her as he sped up even more. Calm down, Ruto. Your mom and the Jinchurikis are protected by many ninjas, aren't they? TAYUYA reminded. They are useless. TAYUYA blinked hearing the answer. They are already dead. TAYUYA's eyes widened. Then shouldn't we wait for reinforcements? She asked Naruto. I have no time for that. Then Naruto moved his hands through a series of seals. TAYUYA recognized the sequence immediately. She and Jiraiya were there when Naruto first made that jutsu. The technique that Jiraiya declared as one of the most powerful wind jutsu in existence. The technique that was declared as forbidden by Itachi. Ruto, are you serious? Don't you remember what happened every time you used that jutsu? Is there any other way for us to win against 4 members of Akatsuki? Naruto questioned calmly. 4. TAYUYA breathed out. 4 of them. Even facing one won't be a sure victory for us. Prepare yourself, Naruto warned. We will reach our destination soon. TAYUYA steeled herself and nodded. When Naruto jumped from a tree to the plains where his house was, he unleashed his technique. Futon, Shinatsuhiko. Fu was not having a good day. First she heard that there was a chance that the representatives from other villages were here. That meant she might be sent back to Taki, that accursed village. Then she and the other vessels were attacked by the Akatsuki. According to her memory, they were the Shark Man, Hoshigaki Kisame of Kirigakure, the Explosion Maniac, Deidara of Iwagakure, the Puppet Master, Akasuna no Sasori of Sunagakura and the Snake Sannin, Orochimaru of Konohagakure. As if it was not problematic enough, they already killed the so-called protectors around this place. If this continues, we won't be able to get away from them. She thought as she flew to avoid Deidara's bomb. It seemed that Deidara was the type to simply cause explosion instead of using a more subtle art of shinobi. He created paper animals and sent them towards his enemies with chakra. When he formed a seal, the paper animals would explode according to the chakra he placed in them. This guy is strong. Even if she released a bright light to blind the shinobi, his one mechanical eye seemed to be working fine and her technique was rendered useless. When she thought that she would be safe in the sky, her eyes widened as she saw a giant paper dragon flying with Deidara on its back. Art is an explosion, he shouted as numerous paper bombs flew towards her. She closed her eyes and braced herself for pain. Then, Futon, Shinatsuhiko, both the Jinchurikis and the Akatsuki stopped hearing the voice. Immediately after the name of the technique was stated, the whole battleground were struck by a swirling wind. The wind spun around the battlefield, striking the Akatsuki members and then gradually grew larger and formed a giant tornado. The hell is this, Deidara asked as his paper bombs were swallowed by the wind. The giant hulking man observed the wind as it moved closer towards him. I did not expect to have to abandon Hiriko this soon, he commented as he was swallowed by the tornado. This chakra feels familiar. Kisame muttered. Orochimaru-san, is this the kid? Kisame asked his partner. Orochimaru smirked and nodded. Naruto-kun must have mastered wind manipulation. This technique would be impossible for anyone else other than him. The amount of chakra, the amount of control, impressive. It seems that the technique failed. Naruto stated as he landed on the clearing. What are you talking about, Ruto? You hit one of them, TAYUYA told him as she landed beside the boy. If they lose that easily, there will be no point in us training for 3 years. That one is alive, look, Naruto motioned towards the dissipating wind. As the wind disappeared, a figure of a boy with red hair and brown eyes could be seen. Impressive, the boy stated. To think that Hiriko could be destroyed that easily. Naruto scanned his opponents. Hoshigaki is a bad match for me, I should leave him for the others. Orochi is not an enemy. The blonde one, Deidara, if I remember the bingo book correctly, is an explosion user, I believe I can handle him. However, the red-haired one is an unknown. Yuya, you handle Orochimaru. I will handle the red-haired boy, Naruto commanded. Mother should be able to work with the vessels to defeat the remaining two. Be careful, Ruto. Part of her was annoyed that Naruto would send her to a safe fight as Orochimaru was their ally, but part of her understood that Naruto was asking her to gather information about Akatsuki from Orochimaru. Naruto nodded. Then he moved to engage the boy. May I have your name? Naruto asked the boy respectfully. Without a doubt this boy must be a very skilled shinobi. To be able to join the Akatsuki at such a young age. The boy nodded, pleased with the attitude Naruto showed. Carve this name upon your mind. I am Akasuna no Sasori, the greatest puppet master who graced this land. Naruto's eyebrow went up. Akasuna no Sasori, hailed as the best puppet master in Tsunade. Disappeared when he was in his teens. Naruto listed what he knew about the famous shinobi. However, Akasuna no Sasori was born a long time ago. How is it that you managed to keep such youth? Sasori stared at Naruto without a trace of emotion. Interesting, most shinobi would assume that I am an imposter. However, you accepted the fact that I am Akasuna no Sasori easily. I am confident that the Akatsuki would not accept an imposter without skill in their ranks. Whether you are the real Akasuna no Sasori or not does not matter. You are skilled. If you wish to be called Akasuna no Sasori, then I shall identify you as such, Naruto stated. Sasori nodded, so a part of you still doubted that I am the real Akasuna no Sasori. Very well, let me clear that doubt. He took out a scroll with the kanji, free, and unleashed a puppet from it. Naruto's eyes narrowed. When Akasuna no Sasori disappeared from Tsunade, no one fussed over his disappearance because Suna itself is in crisis because of their missing Kazekage, Naruto recalled. I suppose I should be honored. I did not expect to battle a Kage. Even in a puppet form, the puppet was a black-haired puppet with long cloak. It was difficult to identify who the puppet was as he was not familiar with Tsunade. However, if the scroll Sasori used was any indication, this puppet was without a doubt the third Kazekage. Correct, this is one of my masterpiece, the third Kazekage, a human puppet. Naruto heard rumors of such practice in Suna, but he heard that it was frowned upon. Indeed, this puppet held the same ability that made the third feared across the elemental country. The iron sand. Naruto had read about it, the ability to manipulate the black iron sand which was denser than regular sand. If he remembered correctly, the Kazekage used magnet release to manipulate the sand. It seems that this will be a troublesome battle. Naruto muttered. The iron sand is a physical attack, and if it is similar to Gaara's sands, then Gakido, Ninjendo, Chikashodo and Jigakudo are not a good match for it. Shirato it is. Leave it to me, master, Shirato stated as he linked with the Azura realm. Shirato, Bunshin. Naruto created a clone for Shirato and he began to form a Rasengan. Futon. The Rasengan spun faster. The puppet moved and unleashed a wave of black sand towards Naruto and the clone. They jumped away, avoiding it. Master, I detected several foreign substances in the sand, Shirato told Naruto. Foreign substances. Naruto had found out in his training that with a glance, Shirato was able to tell the materials used to create an item. That ability certainly helped him a lot while he was buying tools for his missions. I believe it is poison, he told Naruto. That certainly would be annoying, Naruto commented. Even with the increased regeneration that Uzumaki clan has, a strong poison could still affect him. Against an S-ranked shinobi that defeated Kazekage, that was something he could not afford. Shirato, cover me, Naruto told the path. Shirato nodded and formed a bow and arrow. Do you think an arrow would stop the iron sand? Sasori asked, amused. I trust you, Shirato. Naruto dashed towards Sasori, the Rasengan in his hand spinning faster and burst into flames. Yes, master, Shirato moved the bow and an arrow to a shooting position. The iron sands moved from sides and prepared to engulf Naruto within it. Shirato's eyes narrowed and the arrow was covered by wind chakra and then burned by flame chakra. Q Teo no Tsukisasu, Hoi. Pierced the 9 suns, Hoi. Shirato released the arrow and it flew straight above Naruto. When the iron sands moved near it, it was blown back by the strong winds. Sasori moved the Kazekage and the iron sand covered him and the Kazekage. The burning arrow struck the shield of sands and the minerals in the iron sand melted. The sand became a glass-like substance and shattered. Naruto appeared from behind the shattered glass and slammed the Rasengan to the missing Nin's body. Sasori flew back from the impact and continued towards the forest. Naruto formed several hand seals and looked towards Shirato. They both nodded. Naginata no Tsukisasu, Lubu. Pierced the halberd, Lubu. Shirato released another arrow. This time it had no elemental property but it flew faster than the previous arrow. When the arrow moved past Naruto, he released his chakra and shouted the name of his technique, Raitun, Kaminari. Unlike his wind control, his lightning manipulation was lacking and so he used Shirato's arrow as the target of the thunder. Power is not revealed by striking hard or often, but by striking true, Naruto quoted as he saw a thunder striking a figure in the forest. He is still alive, master, Shirato pointed out. He is incapable of battling for now. Let us move on to the next target. Naruto was about to move towards the IWA missing Nin, Deidara but then, Akahiji, Hyaki no Son, Red Secret Technique, performance of 100 puppets, Naruto and Shirato stopped as they saw countless puppets flying on the sky. Master, move. Shirato pushed Naruto down. He stood and formed a spear with long sharp blade in his hands. Tanbo o Kurisaku, Tadakatsu. Cut through the dragonfly, Tadakatsu, Shirato began to struck all puppets that moved to attack him and Naruto. Whenever the puppets were struck by the great spear, they were cut into 2, similar to the dragonfly that landed on the great spear, Tanbajiri. When he cut the 30th puppets, the spear broke and he formed a yuiken, a pole with a flat spade-like blade on one end and a crescent-shaped blade on the other. Xuanzang o Mamoru, Wujing. Protect Xuanzang, Wujing. Shirato used the monk's spade skillfully and protected his master as the sand monk, Sha Wujing protected the monk, Tong Sanzang. Again, the pole was destroyed after he struck 50 puppets. Shirato's eyes narrowed as he noticed that the puppets became more skilled as they lessen in numbers. It is time. Shirato formed what looked like a simple staff. In truth, it was one of the strongest weapons he could create. He tried his best to be able to form the staff with similar power with the legends. While it was far weaker than the one in the tales, he could say without a doubt that this staff is strong. Tengaku ni Konran o Motoresu, Saiten Teisei. Wreak havoc in the heaven, great sage equaling heaven. Shirato swung the staff and like his declaration, began to wreak havoc in the battlefield. Naruto watched Shirato's battle from where he laid. His respect for the second path grew as he managed to knock back the 100 puppets that attacked them. If he was serious at the trial, I will not be able to beat him. Naruto muttered. He could not imagine matching Shirato in battle without any assistance. If he is in his own body, can he defeat the Akatsuki? If he could do that much in the body of clone, how strong would he be in a real flesh? When the last puppet was destroyed, Shirato panted and then exploded into smoke. That was impressive, Shirato. Naruto praised. You honor me, master, Shirato humbly responded. Boy, you managed to damage the third and destroyed most of my puppet collection. What is your name? Sasori asked as he stepped out of the forest. Part of his cloak burned and his face had few scratches but otherwise he was unharmed. Uzumaki Naruto, Naruto answered. Uzumaki Naruto, is it? You should be pleased then. For you will be the first puppet in my new collection. Sasori took off his cloak, revealing a mechanical body. A long tail-like stinger from his open stomach, 5 large blades on each sides of his hips and a circular object with kanji scorpion on it. His heart, a living human puppet. Naruto muttered, correct. This is the greatest art I have created. An immortal living art. My body, Sasori stated, facing a puppet in battle is difficult. They cannot feel pain. They will not stop unless their user commanded them to. In this case, where is the user? The heart? Might as well try. Naruto called upon Shirato's power and formed a sword. This sword was the only weapon he was confident he could replicate. Kusa o Kurisaku, Amano Murakumo, cut the grass, sword of the heavenly gathering clouds, better known as Kusanagi no Tsurugi. The same katana as the one Orochimaru possessed, the only difference was the hilt of Murakumo was white. Let us begin. Sasori moved and engaged Naruto in a close combat. While Naruto was confident in his skill of using a blade, he was quickly being pushed back by Sasori's propeller-like blades and stinger. Naruto avoided the stinger which he assumed was coated in poison and tried to stab the heart of Sasori. Sasori jumped away using the propeller and raised his hands. Naruto saw pipes on the both palms and quickly gathered his chakra. Flames burst out from the pipes towards Naruto. Naruto slammed his hands on the ground and a wall of mud rose to protect him. Naruto formed a clone from behind the wall and sent the clone to attack Sasori. Naruto's clone formed several hand seals and then countered Sasori's fire with a great fireball technique. Useless. Sasori raised his hands again and this time a jet of water shot out from it, dispelling the fire. The water continued and blown the clone away, dispelling it as it slammed into a tree. Then two chains shot from Naruto who dashed closer towards Sasori. The chains wrapped themselves on Sasori's hands. Die, Naruto stated as he moved to stab Sasori's heart with Murakumo. Sasori moved the stinger and wrapped the blade with it, stopping Naruto's attack. This is my victory, Uzumaki Naruto. The blades on his hips moved to cut Naruto's down but then Naruto smirked. Do you know what is my specialty? Naruto asked Sasori calmly. I believe Orochimaru and Kisame reported that it was elemental manipulation, Sasori answered. Then his eyes widened in realization. Correct, futon, kamikaze. Immediately the blades, stinger and even Sasori's puppet body were struck by powerful gales of wind. Sasori jumped back but Naruto chased after him and as Sasori landed, his core was pierced by the Murakumo. I see, Sasori smirked. Only someone who has mastered wind manipulation would be able to use that kind of technique without hand seals. When your clone faced me, you kept gathering chakra in preparation for this one final strike. Indeed. I wondered how can I neutralize your multiple weapons. From your attitude, I suspected that you will let your guard down only when you are about to kill me and so I made myself as a bait. Naruto explained. However, clearly showing yourself will make me suspect that it was a trap and so you used a clone to attack me, making me believe that your attack is the real one and the clone was a feint, Sasori analyzed calmly. In truth, both of them are feints. You are strong Akasuna no Sasori but you underestimated me. Sasori chuckled, I blame the Akatsuki, my partner is an idiot who have no concept of strategy. I have grown and used to battle someone with intelligent mind. Naruto said nothing as he listened the dying puppet's last words. Farewell Uzumaki Naruto, you are a worthy opponent. As Sasori closed his eyes forever, Naruto pulled out his blade from the puppet's heart. The one who defeated your strongest technique was not me, but Shirado. Am I truly worthy of your praise? Naruto wondered. Then he steeled his eyes. Worthy or not, it does not matter. I will do what I have to do to protect my mother. Farewell, Akasuna no Sasori. Naruto then moved towards where the others were. Impressive, he defeated Sasori. We should report this to the leader as fast as possible. When Naruto arrived to the battleground, he saw not only the Jinchurikis and the Akatsuki members but also several additional people. Helping TAYUYA and the Jinchurikis were Itachi, the other Kages and the remaining Jinchurikis. On the other side, two more Akatsuki members appeared, a silver-haired man with purple eyes carrying a triple-bladed scythe and a man rearing a white hood and a black mask that showed only his eerie green eyes. Kisame saw him. Oh, you survived, kid. Does that mean Sasori is dead? Kisame questioned. Indeed, Akasuna no Sasori is dead, Naruto nodded as he joined TAYUYA, the Kages and the Jinchurikis. Dana is dead? Yes. Now he'll know that my art is better than his. Deidara shouted with a grin. Are you Sasori-san's partner? I will not tolerate any insult against him. He was a skilled shinobi, deserving of respect, Naruto stated. Deidara had the decency to look apologetic. Yeah, sorry about that, I got too excited sometimes. Hey, kid. Want to fight now? Kisame asked. Naruto's eyes widened as he remembered his bet with Kisame. Winning against the shark would mean information about the mysterious masked man. I am sure that if I fight you now, the Kages will interfere. No, we will meet again and then, I will fight you. One-on-one. Kisame grinned, now you're talking. Train hard and then you might be able to amuse me. That brat defeated the puppet freak, the silver-haired man asked. Such a strong soul as a sacrifice will please Jashin-sama. Don't kill the boy yet, Haiden. A kid like him will end up in bingo books sooner or later. We should wait until his bounty becomes high before we hunt him, the hooded man stated. We should retreat for now, there are too many hindrances, Orochimaru advised. Right, see you later then, kid. Kisame waved as the Akatsuki disappeared. Why did we not chase them, Itachi-sama? Naruto asked. In addition to Tobi, there are 3 unknown members of Akatsuki. If we chase after them, those 4 may show themselves. A battle against 9 S-ranked shinobi should be avoided, Itachi explained. Understood. Naruto nodded. Ah, Ruto. Your stomach. Tayuya shouted in worry. Naruto looked down and saw the side of his stomach bleeding. Since when did he hit me? Naruto wondered as he felt poison invading his body. It seemed that even an Uzumaki could only hold out for a time. That certainly would explain why he did not try to attack you with his stinger. He probably thought that you had a strong resistance against poison, master, Shirato commented. Tell that to me sooner, Shirato. Naruto thought as he lost consciousness. Chapter 24 The Outer Realm and a Jinchuriki. Well, this is new. Naruto muttered as he looked around. A black skies above him and all that he could see around was blackness. This is certainly not Heaven Realm. If this is one of the Desire Realm, the paths should have greeted me by now. That means this is. Welcome to my realm, chosen of Samsara, a voice similar to his called. Naruto chuckled, and here I thought you will wait patiently until I come to you, Geto. Naruto turned and raised an eyebrow. With how similar he and the paths of Desire Realm were, he was expecting someone remotely looked like him. Instead he was facing a male version of his mother with short red hair and Rinnegan eyes wearing an inverse-colored clothing from him. While he wore black jacket, white shirt and black pants, the Outer Realm wore white jacket, black shirt and white pants. You certainly are different from the others. Naruto commented. The path smirked, similar to his own and yet completely different. I am what you are not. I am what you could have become. I am neither you nor not you. What am I? He asked. A paradoxical being. A being outside mortals' comprehension. For you cannot exist with me and yet exist within me, Naruto answered with a tense face. Does that mean I will go insane if I spend more time with you? He asked, half joking, half serious. Of course, it is more fun that way, Geto answered with a smile. Do you wish to escape from this realm? He asked. Naruto nodded. Do you know what you must do? Another nod. Then let us begin. I am Geto. The Outer Realm. Tell me, chosen of Samsara, when you see a mirror of a mirror, do you see yourself? Or do you see death? Immediately numerous chains came down from the black sky above them and moved to attack Naruto. He immediately formed several chains and used it to form a shield in front of him. The outer chains abruptly stopped and curved around the shield he had made, forcing Naruto to jump back, avoiding their assault. Chosen of Samsara, your chains could never match mine. After all, yours are merely a copy of mine, Geto commented as the chains coiled and attacked Naruto again. Naruto stood still and the chains froze before reaching him. The Outer Realm looked at him, confused by his attitude. You are not the Geto that fought against the Biju, Naruto declared. His presence is different. It was more oppressive, more feral. If you are the Outer Realm, then who is he? Geto smirked and answered calmly, that is Geto. But he is not yours. I am your Outer Realm. He is someone else's. Naruto immediately realized whose it was. It was obvious that Geto knew too much about the things he did not know. Especially about Biju. He is Tendo's, is he not? Tendo. Geto blinked confusedly, then his eyes lightened up in realization. Ah, you mean the outsider? Yes, he is the outsider's. Outsider? Naruto looked at the outer realm questioningly. Technically speaking, the name would suit Geto better. Geto laughed. It seems that you do not know anything. Very well. If you pass my trial, I will tell you what you want to know. About myself and about Tendo. Naruto's eyes grew fierce and a new set of chains burst out from his hands, moving towards the outer realm. The chains were met by their outer counterpart and they dispelled each other. Raitun, Kusari, lightning-covered chains shot out from Naruto's hands and spun around him. Geto, Kusari, white chains came from multiple directions and began to attack Naruto. The chains battled around them and Naruto formed several hand seals. Futon, Shinetsu Hiko, a powerful wind covered the area and blew the chains away. Then the wind moved towards the outer realm. Geto looked at the approaching gale with a bored expression. A white chain came down from the black sky and slammed to the middle of the battlefield, the shockwave dispelling the wind. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. In this realm, any techniques other than the outer ones will be weakened. Your wind is no exception, Geto explained. Just as he was about to attack, Naruto noticed that his body began to disappear. He recognized this as a sign that he was about to wake. You are about to wake up. Boring. Geto commented. Before you wake up completely, how about I show you my true power, he asked. Naruto looked at the path in confusion, then his eyes widened as his body was suddenly pierced by multiple chains. Naruto screamed wordlessly. The chains moved faster than what his eyes could see and he was dragged by the chains to the sky. He knew that he could not die in the realms, but the pain was definitely real. One chain in each of his palms, one through his feet, 3 through his stomach and 1 in his right chest. He knew what that meant. If Geto wished, he could kill him by piercing his heart or head by a chain. But he did not, because he simply wished to show how strong he was compared to him. Then as he was raised to the sky, he saw hundreds chains rising to the sky from behind Geto. The chains spun and then they were blown away as a massive figure was revealed from inside the chains. A figure of a pale-skinned giant with armor covered in chains, blue fire covering its body. A massive being summoned by the outer realm, Zhao. Geto jumped high to the sky, pulled his right hand back, the giant following his movements. Gomen, the outer realm and the giant swung their arms and a massive fist slammed upon Naruto's body and he was sent crashing to the ground, burning with blue flame. At that moment, Naruto felt his mind breaking. Ah! Naruto woke up screaming on the hospital bed. Ruto! TAYUYA immediately hugged him, worried by his sudden scream. Naruto, still panicking, grabbed TAYUYA tightly. Ruto, what's wrong? TAYUYA asked cautiously. No, nothing is wrong. Naruto assured her while panting. He knew that she was not convinced and so he gave her a smile to clear her anxiety. If you say so. TAYUYA stroked his back as she hugged him. My apologies for startling you, Yuya. Naruto bowed his head towards her. No, it's fine. Do you have a nightmare? TAYUYA asked. Naruto nodded but said nothing else. I'll call Tsunade-sama, TAYUYA declared as she left to call the legendary medic. Naruto, left alone in the hospital room, laid back down on the bed and began to close his eyes, planning to visit the heaven realm. As his eyes closed, he saw the visage of Geto and the giant and he was snapped back awake. Naruto noticed that his hands were shaking. Am I scared of him? He wondered. He knew the answer. Yes, he was. That was the first time someone came that close of killing him. Geto let him escape. Had he moved a bit faster, the mind of Uzumaki Naruto would have been overtaken by Geto. I lost. I cannot even harm him. Naruto thought as he tried to calm himself. Master, we saw the memory. Shirato said to him. Naruto nodded, he knew the paths would be worried. I must admit, the power of the outer realm surpassed what I expected. We should train for now. Train, huh? Naruto wondered whether it would make a difference or not. The outer realm was powerful. Perhaps as powerful as Tendo. You shouldn't give up, Master, Shirato advised. Naruto was about to answer but then he heard the sound of a door opening. He looked towards the door and raised an eyebrow. Why are you visiting me? Naruto asked Fu bluntly. Fu looked away, it was clear to Naruto that she was here reluctantly. You saved me, thank you. She muttered. Naruto closed his eyes and sighed, you should not thank me. Saving you is merely a side effect. The girl looked conflicted, then she seemed to have resolved herself, train me. Naruto's eyes opened in surprise, I must admit, I did not expect those words to come out of your mouth. Then Naruto looked at her closely, why did you not ask my mother? Fu looked towards the floor, I did but she said that she is not good at teaching. She told me to ask you. Naruto nodded, I suppose that explains why you are here. However, I do not believe my mother's words are the only reason you are asking me to train you. Is there any other reason? How about you ask the other Jinchuriki? Fu looked embarrassed but then she began to speak, you are the strongest person I know. I heard that you stopped Nanabai and Rokubi, then you saved Yugura. And now you defeated an Akatsuki member alone. Naruto raised an eyebrow hearing that. The first two achievements were not mine. The third would not be possible without Shirato. I doubt I will be able to teach you anything. Naruto muttered, it's fine. I just want to be stronger. I want to protect the others. Fu looked down after her outburst. You should teach her, you know. Ninjendo cut in, did I even call you? Naruto wondered. Nah, you didn't. That didn't stop me though, Ninjendo boasted. But seriously, you should train her. She can be a good help, you know. The only thing I can teach you is elemental manipulation, Naruto declared. If you still want to train under me, after I am released, meet me at the clearing near the Uzumaki compound. Tell the others that if you want. Fu nodded and muttered, thanks. Then she left the room. Annoying. Naruto muttered to no one in particular, don't do something as reckless as that ever again. Tsunade lectured. Naruto nodded as he half listened Tsunade's lecture about how he should not face an Akatsuki member alone. His mind focused on how he would train the vessels and how he should train himself. Ruto. Are you listening? TAYUYA asked as she saw Naruto's eyes becoming half-closed, showing that his mind wandered away. I am listening. Naruto muttered. Tsunade's eye twitched and she sighed tiredly. There's no point in lecturing him when he is like this. Tsunade then left the room with a warning that he should not exercise much. Yuya, Naruto called. Yes, Ruto. TAYUYA sat on a chair beside his bed. Can you bring me several apples? Naruto asked. About 5 or 6. TAYUYA smiled and nodded, thinking that he wanted her to peel him an apple. She was mistaken. TAYUYA's eye twitched, not unlike Tsunade's few moments ago. While it was true that Naruto wanted her to peel an apple, the remaining 5 apples were used by him to train his chains. The apples danced in the sky as Naruto's chain struck it from many directions, preventing it from falling. To add, Naruto did not even compliment her as he absent-mindedly ate the apple slice that she fed him. TAYUYA sighed, then again, this is how he is, whatever happened in his nightmare must have shook him. Whenever Naruto was worried or stressed, he would train like crazy. Somehow, training seemed to calm him down all the time. She supposed that was similar to her playing flute. Do you want me to bring you more apples? She asked. No thank you. I should not waste more food. Naruto declined. Do you need anything else? TAYUYA asked again after a silence. Naruto stopped the apples by placing them on one chain. Then he looked towards her. Can you play a song for me? TAYUYA smiled and took out her flute. Soon, as TAYUYA began to play her flute, she noticed that the chains that Naruto had began to move according to her melody. She wondered whether that was because Naruto wanted to train or because he was enjoying her song. Watching him smiling serenely as he laid on the bed, she believed the latter. After her song was finished, Naruto stopped his chains and brought the apples back down. Thanks Yuya, Naruto thanked her. What for? She asked. Wondering what his answer would be. For the apples, for feeding me and for playing a beautiful song, Naruto listed. TAYUYA laughed, most people would call it a haunting melody. That's why it's called the melody of death. Naruto gave a small smile, I am not most people. Yeah, you aren't, most people wouldn't be alright after being struck by a lethal dose of a poison. Are you immortal or something? TAYUYA asked jokingly. Naruto gave a sardonic smile, believe me, I am immortal. The memory of being struck by Geto's chains and punched by a giant came back to him full force. By the way, Yuya, does your song have a name? Naruto asked. TAYUYA blinked. No, it doesn't. I always called it Melody of Death. Why, I have a good name for it, Naruto told her. TAYUYA looked at him questioningly and Naruto smiled as he declared the name. Memento Mori. A few days later, he was released from the hospital. The first thing he did was to go to his usual training area. There, he saw a rare sight. TAYUYA and Fu training together. Then again, it is more as if they are ignoring each other. Ruto, you're back. Why didn't you tell me? TAYUYA immediately went to him, stopping her training. I am planning to train before returning. However, it seems that you are here before me. No training for you. You should rest more. TAYUYA scolded. Naruto sighed, knowing that arguing with her was pointless. Then, at least I will fulfill my promise with Fu-san. What promise? TAYUYA asked, blinking in confusion. She knew that Naruto and Fu's relationship were not exactly friendly. It was unexpected to hear that Naruto promised her something. She asked me to train her. Worry not, I will not exert myself too much, Naruto answered. Then he walked towards the green-haired vessel. Before we start, Fu-san. Can you tell me about the Akatsuki member you fought? Naruto asked. Fu tried to recall what she knew about the blonde Akatsuki. I think his name is Deidara, from Iwagakure. He uses paper bombs. Clay, Naruto corrected calmly. What? Deidara of Iwagakure is known for using exploding clay. He possesses Bakuten bloodline which allows him to use explosion release. I do not know about the details however, possessors of this bloodline are able to use any form of materials to cause explosion, Naruto explained. But, he flew using a big white creature. A clay will be too heavy. How can he fly like that? Fu argued. I mean, I can see him flying if he use paper and then wind chakra. How can he do that with a clay? Flying with wind chakra, while sounds useful, is impractical. Even with my wind control and chakra capacity which are above most, I am only able to stay floating for several minutes. For him to fly with a large object sounds impossible. Naruto then closed his eyes, lost in thought. Unless he used a chakra-sensitive material. Naruto declared, chakra-sensitive material. This time, it was TAYUYA who voiced her confusion. Indeed, it is similar to the material used for your flute. It allows you to cast genjutsu with it. Chakra-sensitive materials can be found in Anbu swords, Tsunade's fans, or even high-quality kunais. To put it simply, they are chakra-enhanced weapons. So the clay that guy used is like that? Fu asked. Most likely. It is easier to channel chakra to certain materials rather than using it to your own body. This is why Tsunade wind users use their special fans for their techniques. It is stronger that way, Naruto explained. But your wind is stronger than theirs, right Ruto? TAYUYA asked with a grin. Naruto nodded. Itachi-sama will be disappointed if it is not. Enough talking, it is time for you to train. Fu nodded, determination burned in her eyes. Beside Naruto, TAYUYA looked at the girl with pity in her eyes. She won't survive. TAYUYA thought sadly. Fu laid on the ground, her whole body sore from the training Naruto put her through. Aren't you being too harsh, Ruto? TAYUYA asked. She felt sympathy for the girl. As should anyone else. After finding out the girl's elemental affinity, which was wind, Naruto's eyes gained a strange gleam and then forced her to deflect the rocks he threw at her using only wind chakra. I was expecting her to do better. I survived all elements training with Itachi-sama. She should at least be able to survive one element training. Naruto muttered. How good is your manipulation anyway? Fu asked as she tried to sat but failed. Naruto thought for a while. I am able to recreate A-ranked jutsu for wind and water. B-ranked for the rest. How long did it take for you to be that skilled? Fu wondered. 3 years or so. However, you are learning only one element and so, I expect you to reach this level in a year at most, Naruto told her. Fu groaned in despair. Where are the other vessels? Naruto asked. He was expecting the others to join their training, at least Gaara. They went back to their own villages, Fu answered with a hint of sadness. Takigakure is too weak to protect a Jinchuriki, so I'm still here. Naruto nodded. I see, as I expected. As you expected? Tayuya raised an eyebrow. Do you not remember our talk with the Kage, Yuya? I am the one who advised them to hide the Jinchuriki in other places. It seems that my suspicion is correct. They found out that 5 Jinchuriki are staying in the Uzumaki compound and attacked with 6 members at once. With the vessel's safety compromised, they have to hide them in other places, unless they want the whole Akatsuki to attack Konohagakure. Which is why I am training you, Fu-san. After all, you know better than most, anything can happen. There might be a time where you have to fight against the Red Dawn alone. When that time comes, I expect you to be prepared. Fu nodded. In the middle of her training, Fu suddenly said that she wished to talk with Naruto alone. Yes? Naruto asked calmly. I'm sorry. Fu bowed while shouting her apology. Ha. Naruto blinked, confused by the girl's sudden action. When I first saw you, you looked at me and the others like how the villagers of Taki used to, as if we are nothing, so I. Fu trailed off. So you acted hostile towards me, Naruto nodded. He could see how that would spark the girl's dislike towards him. However, I acted the same to everyone, Naruto pointed out. Fu blushed. Yes, I noticed that after seeing you interact with other people, but at that time, I thought that you disliked me, so I avoided you. Naruto blinked again. So to put it simply, she acted hostile to me because of a misunderstanding, then she got too scared of me and so she avoided me. He sighed. I am not good with this emotional talk. Raise your head. You made a mistake and you apologized for it. I believe that your hostility towards me came from your life as a Jinchuriki, and so, I do not dislike you because of that. Fu looked at his eyes and saw the usual cold eyes she saw in the villagers, but then she saw a trace of kindness in it and smiled. Thank you, Naruto-san. Do not thank me. When I trained every day, you are the one who took care of my mother. I should be thanking you instead. Naruto nodded towards her in appreciation. Fu shook her head and muttered in a low voice, Kushina-sama is right, Naruto-san is very kind. Naruto saw her muttering but could not hear what she said. He decided to ignore it and told her to continue training. After Fu finished her training, the three went back to the Uzumaki's house. To be exact, Naruto carried the exhausted Fu on his back. On their way, Naruto noted that it was already nighttime and wondered how angry his mother would be. Mother, I am home. Naruto greeted as he, Tayuya and Fu entered the house. Kushina immediately hugged him, telling him how worried she was and how he should not do something as reckless as facing an Akatsuki member alone again. Naruto awkwardly hugged her back. He wished he could say that he was alright, but being sent to the hospital because of a poison was definitely not alright in his mother's book. After his mother was done lecturing him, the four ate dinner. Naruto noted that for the first time, Fu did not seem to be wary of him and Tayuya. The air was peaceful and Naruto supposed that it was similar to the old family dinner he and his mother used to have, except that it had 2 more members. I suppose Fu would be a distant cousin then. Thought Naruto. How about Yuya? After their dinner, Naruto and Tayuya were about to go to the rooftop as they usually did, but Kushina stopped them. I don't think that it is safe to be in the rooftop for now. You should sleep in your own rooms, and so Naruto and Tayuya went to their respective rooms. It has been quite some time since I sleep here, has it not? Naruto wondered as he laid on his bed. Indeed, it is quite nostalgic, is it not? A voice asked him. How is it that you managed to appear in this world, Geto? Naruto asked as he looked at a see-through image of the outer realm floating beside his bed. Because I have defeated you, Naruto winced at the reminder. I defeated you and therefore our body recognized me as an owner. Worry not, I am at most a wraith, the path stated. I am unable to touch anything. Geto placed his hand through the bed as an example. No one except you can see me, chosen of Samsara. Naruto watched the path warily. As of now, you are too weak. Geto declared bluntly. I will allow you to live for now. However, I will summon you to my realm one day. And then. He trailed off. Only one of us may walk away. Naruto ended. Geto smirked. I look forward facing you again, first. The path disappeared. Naruto looked at the place where the path once was. First.